Hey, what's poppin', guys? Sizzle here, and today we're talking about the Operation Broken Fang case. First things first, we have the M249 Deep Relief, and this is a pretty good skin to start with. Now, keep in mind this is a fact new one, but at the end of the day, that's what we're gonna look at for all these. Um, First thing I see is this nice kind of blackish design. It still has something going on there. Not sure exactly what, because it's a bit darker. But that's actually not the important part. It's just having something that isn't just a solid color surrounding these nice green spots is a really, really good idea. I think the color of like a darker color and then with a very like light-ish green or just green in general, kind of like black on green, looks really nice. I mean, black with most things look nice, so black and green obviously looks nice. I think the word relief is kind of a play on words because I think what these are like kind of reefs, like the ones you'll find like the water and like the ocean, where it kind of you can see it kind of goes down with layers. I really like how they do kind of 2D on 3D thing, really noticeable when you look at the skin, and it's just a nice design. You definitely can't really go wrong with this one. Unfortunately, it's on the M249, so we're never gonna see this in game. But if you had to pick a skin for the M249, it's a pretty solid option, and it's only a blue somehow, which makes actually a pretty good choice. So for that, I'm putting this thing as an easy C tier. I think it could even be a low B tier if you really stretch it, but I think it's definitely a C tier if nothing else. Next up, we have the P250 Contaminant, which I guess is supposed to kind of be like a blood clot or something. Personally, just looking at this skin almost like creeps me out a bit. I'm getting like some goosebumps, which some people might like this design. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I think there's like a word for that, like trypopharia or something like that. Uh, I don't like looking at the skin too long, so I'm not gonna talk about it too much. But it's got an interesting design. It's got like kind of like what you'd expect if you, I guess, inspected like a human body or something. I don't know. I don't like looking at it. It doesn't have a bad design though, so I can't realistically put this in F. Some people are gonna like that design. I can't stand looking at it, but that might be because of just personal taste. I don't know. I really can't look at that design for too long. I'm sorry. Then we have the G3 SG1 digital mesh, which yeah, it's a kind of like an army mesh that for some reason is digitized and has these random. I don't even know what to call these. Like I guess meshes on them. So these are all random meshes just throughout the weapon. It's not everywhere. There's parts where it breaks through. And otherwise, it's got a basic camo skin. It does have kind of like a sleek finish on the parts that aren't affected by the skin. Like it's very, factory new. To be fair, it's a .01 float, so you kind of expect that, but still, it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't do a lot. Doesn't do a lot wrong either. I personally am gonna put it. I don't know. I have a hard time between low B or just F tier. Because it doesn't do much. It's basically your average camo skin, and then these meshes make it look even worse than it already would have. It doesn't even cover the whole weapon, which is really noticeable for a G3 skin. So actually, I feel good putting that in F tier unless something like horrendous comes about. And speaking of which, next up we have the P90 Coco Rampage, which yeah, I don't know what it is with their P90 skins, but they sure love having this whole front always scratched to fucking hell. This tip, I don't think I've ever seen too many skins where this tip isn't just scratched to fuck. This stuff here along the bottom here, super scratch. I mean, it is a .06, but it's still a fact new weapon, and it shouldn't have this many scratches. Even some right here, some on the back, like it's all over. On the other hand, though, there's a nice like leather strap on the top, and this design's kind of cool. Like most of the weapons covered in clouds, and then sticking out of the clouds are like these planet monster things. Like you can see this tentacle dog cat thing. You can see like it's like Saturn or something with a face, and he looks like he's being aggressive. There's like a big scene down here, some explosions, some fire, the fucking pterodactyl. It's kind of cool. I really like a lot of the designs going on here. Unfortunately, it uses the brown color scheme as a background, which might make it harder to see this. But if you look at this skin, it actually looks kind of clean. I can't really be mad with the design. Easy C tier for me. Might actually push the M249 up to low B tier just because I think the M249 is a bit better. But this is really well made. I can't really complain too much about this. I think the only real problem is the color scheme and, like I mentioned, all the scratches along the weapon, even in fact new. And next up, we have the MP5-SD Condition 0, another weapon you're never going to see. And it's kind of unfortunate because this is just a clean skin. It's got a very unique pattern. I don't even know how to describe this, but it's clear someone put a lot of time into making this weapon. Every kind of section of the gun has its own pattern that fits well with all the others. The color scheme is very, very nice on this thing. It just looks good. Like you really can't go wrong with this one. Easy B tier. It's not like it's nothing crazy or it's nothing like fire. It's not like, oh my god, this is such a dope skin. But it's a really, really solid skin. Like I would not be mad like owning this, especially if it's like cheap. It's a really nice looking skin. Unfortunately, it's on a weapon that never gets used, but that's beside the point. Next up, we have the Galil AR Vandal, which is actually kind of cool. There's a bunch of like graffiti saying "Don't take my gun," bang bang bang. There's a skull and crossbones. There's some number back here. Don't know what that means, but that's probably another reference. Little like dead guy face, two X's in a line. Fire coming out the front and back. Some stars and like tallies of the people that killed, and even like almost like some graffiti of like the bullets. It's kind of cool. This reminds me of like, someone really bored, kind of stationed at some kind of like warp camp or whatever. Most of the time they won't be fighting someone, and like if you're like an artist or something, you might just start drawing some stuff on your weapon. This is kind of the result. Looks kind of cool. I'm not even gonna lie. Normally I'm not a fan of all these like camo wartime skins, but I think this one's kind of cool. I might put this in A tier. Very, very unique designs across most of this weapon. Next up we have the CZ Auto Vendetta, which this is this tried to do the same thing, but instead you have a blood-soaked handle. It says "Kill from my God is dead" or something. From my God dead hand. Life support. I don't know what half of this is supposed to mean. Keyed, filed. I don't know. And then the rest of the design is very basic. I mean, the main part of the weapon kind of looks like a glazed over version of stock. The redesign on the front and the mag doesn't look that great. I'd say it actually looks worse than the default. And the handle's like kind of cool, I guess, maybe, but I don't like the skin. Um, Probably gonna put in the D tier above the one that I literally like. It like hurts me to look at. So yeah. Next up we have the Nova Clear Polymer, which I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is it almost supposed to be like an X-ray, I guess? I'm not sure what this design is, but I see a lot of pixelation, so it's probably that my computer's fucking it up because I have a weird bug in CS that pixelates some skins. Otherwise, I mean, I don't even know what this design is. It's kind of like alien-like almost, which is kind of cool, I guess. So I'll toss it at the bottom of C tier, assuming it probably looks a bit better. I don't know. Not a good looking purple. Nothing crazy. Next up, the UMP-45 Gold Bismuth, which, yeah, a gold middle separating a white and black part of the gun. Actually kind of cool. The one weird thing being that the gold part isn't too shiny, so it looks almost like copper. If this actually looked like gold in the middle, this is probably one of the sickest skins in the game. I mean, separating white and black with a nice gold like line in the middle would be sick. But this looks like copper separating it, which takes out a lot for me. I really think the color gold looks really nice. But this is still a pretty decent design. I put it probably between the M249 and the MP5 with how much I like it. Next up is the dual Berettas Disaster, I guess. That's how you're supposed to say it. Which look kind of cool. That for some reason, just looking at these skins remind me of like a race, kind of like a race car or something. Kind of the sleek design of like a black race car. Not sure why. Or maybe I guess a finish line. I don't know. For some reason, this reminds me of like a race, and it looks kind of cool. It's kind of clean. Don't really have too much to say about him, which is kind of weird because there's a lot going on. But I'll put him still in the beats here. I think a lot of the skins on the Broken Fang case are kind of cool in my opinion. Then we have the Scout Parallax, which I think tried using some of the same stuff. There's some interesting stuff going on. I guess Parallax is describing the visual effect they got going on, where it kind of looks like things are like overlapping that helps them stand out. There's the leave game button, no scope icon, uh, 1-2 shots, 1 kill, which is kind of funny, suggesting like most people are kind of bad. It's all different icons for headshots, wallbang, blinded, whatever. 360 even for like trick shots, and this, and the scout's kind of used for a lot of trick shots and stuff, and generally for people messing around. So I think these are all pretty cool details that in a scout skin. So I'm gonna actually say it's probably a really cool scout skin specifically. I'll put it actually above the Galil, even though the Galil is sick as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah. And then we have the Op exoskeleton, known for being one of the cheapest ops out there. I don't see why. I mean, I guess it's not as like kind of flashy as most other op skins, but this, it has almost like a foil look to it. Like if you know like the foil stickers, it looks like those. And then it even has its own unique scope design with a bunch of different like skeleton like pin things that go around the whole thing. A nice little skeleton thing right in the middle, some kind of skulls here as well. And I don't know, generally just it's like kind of like if the op had a foil makeover, but the color scheme looks almost identical to stock, so that might be why it's not liked so much. It's not horrible though. Covering the whole op is actually pretty rare for skins. Probably gonna put it behind the MP5 again. I think that MP5 is very vibrant, well made, so I can't realistically put this thing above there when it still uses like the stock color scheme. Next up is the 5.7 Fairy Tale, which, yeah, not my type of skin, but for any girls playing CS, probably pretty cool. It's like a fairy princess with like a sunflower wand and some unicorns and like a castle and everything. Very clean design for what it's going for. Not a design I personally like. It's not my personal style, but for people that like this kind of stuff, this is a very well made gun. Someone clearly put some time into where everything should be going, and it looks clean fact new. I don't really see any scratches or anything. So pretty solid skin. Not my type of skin, but I do know this is a solid skin, so I'm gonna put it bottom of A tier. I think it's one of the better ones for the people that do like this, which isn't me, but it's like half the population probably. I don't know. Next up we have the M4A4 Cybersecurity, which looks sick as fuck. I don't know what it is, but this color scheme just really is like super duper vibrant. I mean, all the colors are very bright, and the parts that aren't are like black and red, which are a very good color combo. Black and red is really one of the best combos out there. And the whole main part of the gun, which is what you generally see in gameplay, looks sick as fuck. And if these Chinese letters mean anything cool, that's also an extra plus. I don't know what they could mean, I can't read them. But they probably mean something dope as fuck. And there are a couple on the weapon, so yeah. But it's a very clean color scheme, very clean M4 skin. The thing is, a lot of M4 skins are actually pretty solid, but this is a pretty good one. You can't really go wrong with it whatsoever. I'm finding that I kind of want to put this in the B tier as well, like probably right below that MP5, because unfortunately the vibrance is kind of all kept in the middle, whereas the MP5 kind of finds a way to make it seem like the whole weapon is vibrant without being just like stupidly bright. So I think that MP5 is still a bit better in my opinion. Next up, we have the USPS Monster Mashup, which is actually dope as fuck. This is probably the creator's name, like Krokos or something. If that means something, that's also dope. There's like a dead guy with the headset, a bunch of different things, like a monkey, a skull. I see a sword, a bunny, bunch of stuff, kind of like almost like hidden in the skin that you won't see unless you look up close. The whole skin itself is like a dragon that also is dead, I guess, because the monster being mashed up. And I don't know what's going on back here, but it's kind of dope as fuck. It even says monster up here. I didn't even realize that. And just the way that he kind of includes all these like tiny little monster designs that are almost like hidden in the skin with something with a very nice color scheme as well. Kind of makes this a very unique kind of skin. It just looks great. Uh, I'm debating putting this as an S tier. It's really well made. I'm gonna put it there. I think this is a beautiful skin. Uh, actually kind of would want this if I didn't already have a whiteout. This is probably my second favorite USP skin that I've looked at so far. Next up, we have the Glock 18 Neo Noir. Um, Interesting design. I almost didn't see what this was at first, but it's like a girl laying down. Her hair is going down along most of the gun. I guess the front part's supposed to be the rest of her body or something. I don't know. Kind of interesting design, but nothing crazy. It takes, like, you have to look at this for like a second for you to even see the design. And otherwise, it almost looks like a confusing mess. Like, it takes a while to see that. It's not very apparent what the design is because of the color scheme, maybe, because it's all a bit darker. And I don't know. I don't like it too much. It's definitely well thought out. I mean, like squeezing everything in the way that they did on such a tiny weapon, very hard to do. I don't want to undermine that. Um, but I think it's below the exoskeleton for me. I don't think it's that great of a skin. And then the final skin we have is the M4A1S print stream, which is just beautiful. I mean, black and white are a very good combo, especially when you have them separate into different parts of the gun. So probably even look weirdly better without the suppressor, I think. Has some random like X's on the wrong of the gun, a heart in the middle here, which is kind of cool. Bunch of random designs that are probably a bit dope to have. But generally, it's just kind of black on white M4A1S, which is cool. I'm a really big fan of simplicity and the color white, so I'll probably put this right below the USPS. I think that USP was the highlight of this collection. I mean, just look at this thing. It looks great from a distance. It looks even better up close. I don't know how the creator managed to pull this off. It looks beautiful. And yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.